It is my job to welcome you here tonight, to remind us that we are here joining with people of conscience all across the country to shine a light on the horrific human rights abuses occurring at our border and to light a beacon of welcome for our migrant siblings. We are here to grieve and repent and to demand better for our human family. The candles that we will kindle this evening will join the flames of thousands in every major town and city across this nation to show the warmth of our love for our migrant siblings and the heat of our rage at their detention, abuse, and deaths. We are here tonight because our government is perpetuating genocide in our name at our southern border, and we do not consent. We are here tonight because ICE is rounding up mostly brown and black families like our nation's 21st century Gestapo, and we do not consent. We are here because they are putting children in concentration camps and abusing and torturing them, and we do not consent. But we are also here to recall that although this iteration is egregious and must be stopped, this hatred and abuse is not new or unique to this time or limited to our borders. The fatal illness of white supremacy has been taking and abusing black and brown and indigenous lives and strangling white souls for decades and centuries in our nation and in our very own community, and perhaps somewhere in the depths of each of our own lives. And so tonight, as we turn our gaze to our nation's border, we remember that we are also here because last month one of our Muslim sisters was threatened with a gun by a racist white man 3 miles from this spot. And we are also here because our Boone County Sheriff in that building right there cooperates with ICE and is currently at this very moment detaining 3 Latino men on ICE's behalf behind those very walls. And we are also here because brown-skinned members of this community are being separated from their families and deported. We are also here because the school-to-prison pipeline has been abusing black children in this community for years. And we are also here because the mass incarceration of people of color in this jail and other prisons has been unjustly separating families in our city and county and state for decades. So we do not consent to the genocide at our border, and we cannot consent to the same oppression unfolding more slowly or more quietly in our own community right here in Columbia and Boone County. So let us train our gaze this evening on the atrocities of our government, but let us not imagine that they are so very far from our own lives. My faith tells me that I am not free until all of my human family is free. Because my fate is bound up with theirs, because the white supremacy that threatens their bodies also threatens my soul. So let the candles that we kindle tonight be a rededication to the fight for freedom alongside all of our human family, who are courageously fighting for their lives and who have already been fighting. Let these candles kindle our passion for liberation. Let them light up the corners of our hearts and burn away the white supremacy that shapes our communities and lives. And let them guide us toward the fierce and urgent love that disrupts evil, transforms our hearts, and frees us all. May we make it so in our witness tonight and in every day beyond. Thank you.
Just yesterday, the president threatened to carry out ICE raids this Sunday. Immigrants and their family members are afraid to go to work, to school, to church, to leave their homes. They're stocking their pantry, making sure they have enough to stay home for several days. They're living in fear of being sent back to their home country, which they have fled from, seeking a better life. Our Democratic elected official, Sheriff Carey, has complied with detain orders in the past. Nice detainer is a voluntary request, does not impose any legal obligation upon the receiving jurisdiction. This is a choice that our sheriff is making. Make sure that Sheriff Carey knows this is not your choice. Call his office and ask him not to comply. Email and call Boone County commissioners and tell them you'd like the sheriff not to comply. We must make our voices heard. These are elected officials. They work for us. Call them, speak to them. The Kansas ACLU legal director wrote a local sheriff with these reasons to decline involvement in federal immigration enforcement. 1, time spent engaging in federal immigration enforcement detracts from the performance of core functions. Immigration enforcement does not advance local priorities because it usually targets individuals who pose no threat to public safety. 2, to effectively protect public safety, local law enforcement agencies need cooperation from local communities. The foundation for this cooperation can be destroyed when local police are viewed as an extension of ICE. The federal government does not generally reimburse the cost of local programs and practices, and local jurisdictions can incur millions of dollars in added expenses as a result. 4, local jurisdictions that participate in immigration enforcement often end up in court and held liable for constitutional violations. Your handouts that we've handed out, and there are more, and we will post information, have the information on who you can contact. Again, we must make our voices heard. It cannot just be standing out here tonight. It must be talking to our friends and neighbors. It must be us calling every single day. There can be no let up when it comes to speaking out on this issue. Say it loud and say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Please, I'd like us to welcome Grace Wildenhaus, the Volunteer and Community Outreach Coordinator of Refugee and Immigration Services, Catholic Charities of Central and Northern Missouri.
Hello everyone, I'm working with our local refugee resettlement agency, and I just want to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we do with refugee resettlement here in Columbia, in Central and Northern Missouri, and how you all can get involved in this movement. So when refugees are first coming to the United States and they're scheduled to arrive here in Columbia, we begin to prepare housing, make sure it's furnished, ready for them to settle in. We pick them up from the airport here. We provide extensive case management services, education services, helping everyone find jobs when they arrive and within their first 5 years in the United States, health services, helping people enroll in health insurance, get to doctor's appointments, getting social security cards, really everything you can imagine needing to do when you first come to a new country, making sure all their basic needs are met, providing financial assistance so that they can pay their rent and utilities when they first arrive. We do health education, we provide daycare subsidies, driver's education, a lot of different services, and there's a lot that you can do to support the refugee community, and we really rely on community support, volunteers, to do what we do and to bring more refugees to Columbia. So there's a lot you can do. You can volunteer to tutor English. You can volunteer in our office to assist case managers. You can help out at the front desk, spread the word about what we're doing, who refugees are, that refugees are here in our community, that there is a refugee resettlement here welcoming refugees as they arrive. And we are currently in the largest refugee crisis in world history. There's 68.5 million displaced people around the world, so this is a time of the greatest need. And if you have any questions or want to know more information about how you can get started or what you can do to help, just don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I have some information for you to take home as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And I'm sure that we will share that information on the Coma for Progress channels, and I'm sure Faith Voices will share it on their channels as well.